Hello and welcome to the talk with Tariro. Today on the program, I'm sure you remember from last week, we were challenging women in terms of the roles that we are occupying in our communities, be it in the political sphere, be it in the corporate world, and really challenging ourselves to say, are we being assertive enough? Are we being aggressive enough? And today on the program, I have a young person who is here to be also unpacking for us from the time that Beijing happened. And this is where we would say, as women, we claimed our spaces. So for her, she wants to say, as much as last week you were talking about the challenges that as women we face, sometimes the things that we don't do, but a lot has also happened. And that's Tariro Mudimu. Not Tariro. Now I'm giving her my name. Her name is Rutendo Mudimu. So Rutendo, now we are Rutendo Tariro Mudimu. She is a program officer with Shamari Manaskana. And we really want to unpack, Rutendo, the issue of Beijing and what Zimbabwe has done, particularly looking at issues of women and health. So what has Zimbabwe done?
Okay, thank you, Tari. It's been 25 years now since the Beijing Declaration and Platform for Action was signed, and Zimbabwe is a signatory to the Beijing. So looking at what the Beijing entails, it seeks to promote health for women, that is looking also at sexual and reproductive health. So it seeks to ensure that women have sufficient information as well as access to quality services. So Zimbabwe, being a signatory to the Beijing Declaration, it has also made some strides in ensuring that they are part and parcel of empowering women and also gender equality. Mm-hmm. So looking at sexual and reproductive health, Zimbabwe has taken a lot of stance. Firstly, we look at our very own constitution, mm-hmm, that was amended in 2013. The constitution then is what other acts and policies take from.
Yes.
So the constitution looks at how health services are supposed to be provided to everyone, right? And looking at section 80 of the constitution, it looks at the rights of women, mm-hmm, right? So we as women, now we have rights, right? Mm-hmm. So
could you unpack those rights? What exactly? Because we often hear you people just talking about the rights of women. As a woman who's in Gutu, which is my area.
Okay.
I often hear you people saying women's rights. What are those rights?
Okay, so when we're talking about now women have rights, mm-hmm, we're now given the platform to have equal opportunities with, yes, our male counterparts.
Yeah.
In the social sphere, the economic sphere, as well as the political sphere, as now we're seeing women taking leads, women doing things that weren't as normal back in the past. So now when it comes to sexual and reproductive health, there were some issues that were reserved for men. Looking at instances, the fact that when you're talking about how many children am I and my husband going to have, right? But now it is my right as a young woman to say, no, I have to attain a certain level of education. I want to do this with my life. So I feel if I am to give birth to 2 children, that will give me space, mm-hmm, to also advance my career, yeah, right? That is one example that I can give. Mm-hmm. So in terms of accessing sexual and reproductive health, we're looking at the fact that now we have hospitals, right? Hospitals are offering services to women, yeah, not just services to get contraceptives, mm-hmm, but also basic information, right? I want to know, let's say I don't want to have a child in the next 5 years. What are the best options that are available to me? I can get that information. Mm-hmm. So looking at Zimbabwe as a country, we have talked about the constitution. Yes. That is like the Bible, I should say, of, yes, Zimbabwe. Uh-huh. And then we bring it down to the Domestic Violence Act, right? Mm-hmm. It's a law that comprehensively deals, or should I say, protects women against all forms of abuse as well as harmful practices, right? So now, if I'm beaten by my husband, I can go to therapy. They have a specific unit which is called the victim friendly unit, where you go and you report your case, you plead your case, right? Because now we have seen there have been a lot of cases ekuti munhu anorohwa mumba onyarara and then it ends up in death.
Yeah.
Right. And we also have, looking at the youths and young women, adolescent girls and young women, we have what we call the National Adolescents and Youth Sexual and Reproductive Health Strategy. It has been taken from the first phase, and now we are in the second phase.
Yeah.
So the I strategy looks at how can we ensure that the adolescent girls and young women have sufficient information in terms of their sexual and reproductive health. And then we lessen the cases of morbidity and mortality, which is directly being propelled by diseases that one gets when they have unprotected sex or they indulge in sexual activities without the basic information, right? So we have organizations such as Samore Mwanaskana taking an initiative as well as complementing these government efforts in ensuring that young women and girls have access to sexual and reproductive health information, as well as they attend the necessary services to ensure that there are lesser cases of unintended pregnancies, unsafe abortions, as well as HIV and AIDS.
So in all these activities that you're talking about, you are always referring to the Constitution. You have said the Constitution is our Bible.
Yes.
What happens when I go against the Constitution?
Well, the sad thing is, if you go against the Constitution, there are legal repercussions for that. For example, let's say I'm raped, although I might be above 18, right? The fact that you have raped me, I go to the victim-friendly unit, I report my case. There are consequences to be faced. Yes. So for each and every violation that is done to a young woman or a girl child, there are consequences to be faced.
Join us after the break. We'll continue with this discussion where we are unpacking the progress that Zimbabwe is making, has made since the Beijing Platform of Action. Our discussion continues where today on the program I have Rutendo Mudimo. Rutendo, you spoke about the issue of one of the successes that Zimbabwe has done being the issue of equal opportunities.
Yes.
I want to mainly look at adolescent girls and boys. When you're looking at availing equal opportunities, would you say this is a reality?
Well, to date, I can safely say yes, it is, to a large extent.
Yes.
Because now we're looking at the fact that both girls and boys go to school, and when it comes to tertiary girls, or should I say female students, they are given a certain advantage. Even when it comes to workplaces, right? Young women, we are now in the business world, they're given the same opportunities as men. And when it comes to salary, the fact that I'm doing the same job as you are, we get the same salary. So to a certain extent, Zimbabwe is a country, and the people of Zimbabwe, they are taking a lead in ensuring that they empower women in all spheres.
And in terms of issues of domestic violence, you know which gender perpetuates,
Yes.
or who are the perpetrators. And yes, we have our Constitution protecting us, especially when I'm looking at issues of adolescent girls. There are issues of date rape that happens. There are issues of even abuse that happens between boyfriend and girlfriend. Then when we go even to women, married women within the home, there's a lot of domestic violence that happens there. In terms of the successes that you have done to try and curtail the problem from compounding, what would you say this is what is happening on the ground?
Okay, as Shamwari Mwanaskana, we are making strides in ensuring that in as much as the society says kana warohwa nemurume ende kuna tete monogadziriswa, it's also we are saying go to the police and report, because obviously if it's my husband's side, they're going to take his side. The first thing they ask is iwe wanga waitei kuti akurova, right? So now it's my fault kuti ndarowa, when in most cases it's my abuser who actually has a problem that needs to be addressed, right? And looking at the country as a whole, yes, there have been cases where women are coming forward to report these cases, but because of the social norms and attitudes that surround us, it's not every woman out there who's saying kuti kana ndarowa nemurume, I am going freely to report the case. Most women in Zimbabwe, they are suffering in silence. Yeah. Although we are having awareness campaigns where we are sensitizing them. No, kana pasita mrishonga mumba handi kuno report, right? But when it comes to actually taking the first step, women still have that fear and those social norms that are holding them back and ensuring their safety. Yes.
So you have done those campaigns.
Yes.
And we're still seeing women holding back. How do we get to a point where they become assertive enough and saying, I'm going to stand up for my rights?
Yes. So as Shangwari Mwanaskana, as I have highlighted before, we also work with men and boys, yes. Right? So we are ensuring that we have males who are championing against gender-based violence, right? So if we have men speaking against gender-based violence, that actually has a bigger impact, because now women are saying, okay, men are actually supporting us, then why not take a stand? Because tikangoti isusu tegateva kadzi tikuti no to gender-based violence ngati reporte, and then the men are just sitting and none of them are taking action. Hapana shinobuda. So a step further that we're taking is ensuring that we have male champions taking a lead, voicing out against gender-based violence, as they are known to be the perpetuators. Yes. So now when they come to our side and then they stand with us, there's more progress to be made.
What successes have you recorded through working with male champions in advocating against gender-based violence?
Okay. As Shangwari Mwanaskana safely had what we call community development committees. These are our community watchdogs. So we have them in our different areas of operation, Chitungwiza, Chiwota, Murewa, and we have men who are part of those CDCs. So you actually see a man coming in with a case. I have this case. A child has been sexually abused, right? I've escorted her to the police. So now we have come to the office so that you give a further assistance that he might not be able to provide to the child. So that is one of the successful stories that we have managed to do, because now we have men assisting girls and young women who have been victims of different forms of violences. Yes.
Yes. And when you're looking at the general successes, I know you've spoken about the issue of the Constitution just being there as the Bible, the equal opportunities that are there, and adolescent girls being able to access health services. You spoke about quite a number of issues. I want to go back to the issue of especially accessing health services. You know, when it comes to adolescents and wanting to access health services and the rights that you always talk about.
Yes.
Adolescents are always talking about, we want to access contraceptives, we want to access these. Is it the right age?
Well, as Shangwari Mwanaskana, we feel there is no right age, right? Looking at these millennials, what used to happen in the past, let's say dating 20 or 35 years back, is different from what's happening now. Yes. We have girls as young as 13, 14 years being pregnant, yes. Right? So now if we are saying, kuti, let's wait until maybe they're 18 or akuda kunororwa, then we're actually destroying the younger generation, because girls and even boys, they're indulging in sexual activities at a tender age. So now, what precautionary measures can we take to ensure that we lessen these cases of unintended pregnancies as well as the sexually transmitted diseases? So now we are saying, let the information firstly be availed to everyone. Let's not restrict. However, let's put age at it. Let's give age appropriate information. So let's not put an age limit. Yes, the Constitution says there's a legal age of access, right? But now you're saying we're advocating for the fact that let the information be availed to everyone, to ensure that each and every adolescent out there makes an informed decision.
Yeah, you had it there. I know with a lot of us as parents, that's an issue that we can never get to agree. But like what she is saying, sexual debut has gone as low as sometimes 9. We've witnessed young girls as young as 9 years old getting pregnant. And she is saying, at least when you're looking at the strides that they have made, or that Zimbabwe has made as a country, we are seeing that adolescents can now access sexual and reproductive health services. Join us after the break. We continue with our discussion. We continue with our discussion today on the program. We are looking at unpacking the successes that Zimbabwe has done since the Beijing Plan of Action came into being. That's about 25 years ago. And like what we heard from Rutendo, especially on the side is adolescent girls and boys. She has talked about a number of successes that she's saying as a country we are actually on course, and she is applauding all the efforts that have been done. And now I'm joined by Natasha. She's not new on the talk. She's also from Shamari Manaskana as a program coordinator. Natasha, just as a response to the issues that Rutendo spoke about, the successes that we have made as a country, would we then say as women, particularly, we are happy with where we are, or we are happy with where we are going? And if we then say we are happy with where we are going, for me, my point is 25 years.
Yes.
Should we be continuing to be going, or we should have arrived?
Thank you very much, Terry, for having me. And I'm really excited about this year, because this is the 25th year we are celebrating. But as you have highlighted, it's 25 years. That's a long time, Tari.
Is that what we call the Silver Jubilee?
Yes, that
Silver
is
Jubilee.
it. We should have had something. Chakuti seva cards, we can say,
This is what?
Beijing, we
Yes.
should be there. But unfortunately, that's what's on the ground. That's not what's on the ground.
Yeah.
These issues regarding to women issues, we've got very good policies like what Rutendo was highlighting. But these policies, just like our constitution, we always come back and say, why are our issues being trivialized? That's what's happening.
Yeah. Who is trivializing our issues? Because for me, last week I had somebody, and I was saying, I've moved away from being taking this post. I really want to be a gender advocate, a devil's advocate, where I am saying it's 25 years and we are saying our issues are being trivialized. Why are we allowing our issues to be trivialized?
Okay.
My point being, why can't we just stand up as women and say enough is enough?
Okay, first and foremost, Tari, we as the women are the ones who are allowing this to be happening. You look at a number of women, like currently I have to look at how issues of comprehensive sexuality education is being denied, not only by men,
Yes.
a majority are women,
Yes.
but they are seeing what's happening. They even understand what it feels like to not have a choice when it comes to your body.
Yes.
But those are the ones who are we are at the forefront looking at it and saying, so us as the women, we have to first think about it. What is it that we want our daughters to achieve in the long run? Do we always want to come back and cry foul? Should have had these opportunities?
Yeah.
Should have realized, like, okay, 25 years, us as the adults, we were not able to realize the gains that we wanted.
Yes.
But maybe for my daughter, 3 years to come or a year to come, she would have achieved something.
Yeah.
So it goes back to the parents out there, the mothers out there. What is it that you really want your daughters to achieve? Even the policymakers themselves, I understand for a fact that we as women, we have got this small representation when it comes to decision making or leadership leadership powers in Zimbabwe. But the little that we have, the number that we have, should have an impactful voice.
But why
to make
do
a
we
change.
even, I take it back to, why do we even have that small representation? We are the majority. and last week I was raising the same thing where I was saying, half the time we say, why didn't the president appoint so and so?
Yes.
Why didn't the president appoint so and so?
Yes.
But are we putting ourselves there for the president to then say, there is Tariro, there is Natasha there, or we want to be comfortable at that back seat and just saying, let them be there, and then we raise our voices to then complain?
To be honest, Tari, I think as women, we are just comfortable. We have just resigned and said we are comfortable in our spaces. So we've got a few now who just want to break free. But for them to break free, they need somebody to hold their hands.
Exactly.
Right. For them to do that, they have to understand, Kuti, if you want to be in power, there are things that has to be done. Men are doing it.
Yes.
Why can't we do it as women? That's the same conversation that we'll be having. And one other aspect that I really fail to understand amongst women in leadership or in power is how they do not utilize the younger generation in terms of mentoring them. We've got vibrant young women and girls. Like at Shangmare Manaskana, we started the girls' rights movement. I am seeing young women in the making who are able to advocate for their issues, issues of sexual and reproductive health, who are like championing. Last year, in the budget, there was that announcement, 200 million that is going to buy sanitary wear for the girls in the rural areas. And like now, they're currently coming back. Auntie Tasha, what's going to happen to this 200? We're not even getting any information. But we've got people, women in leadership, who are not really seeing these young women who need to be groomed and assisted and mentored for them to be advocates in their own right. You know, that's what we need as women in Zimbabwe. Let's have the power within us. Let's not be comfortable in our spaces.
We are being comfortable
We are.
in our spaces.
Yeah.
How do we move out of that comfort zone?
Okay, first and foremost, look at what it is that you really want. I understand. I believe that each and everyone amongst us, we've got ambitions. Even for those who are now old, they feel like we have missed steps whereby we should have accomplished something in life. Think of that of yourself and think of the children that you have, your daughters. What is it that you want to achieve? Would you be acceptable enough to allow that your daughter has been impregnated and gone to live with somebody because it's a mistake? Or you just want to come back and say, I should give you information that you're going to use and say, if I want to engage in sexual activities, I know I'm going to use protection, I'm going to use contraceptives. So we need for them to be more individualistic about what is it they would have wanted for themselves, and then go back to their children. It becomes more at home if we bring it at home. The Beijing platform, the declaration is for the whole world, but the whole world, we haven't reached the equality that we really wanted. So maybe right now we need to go self-introspection. Women, let's do it. This is ours. Let's do something that is going to help our young girls be better women than ourselves.
Yes, she has said it all. As women, let's do something that is going to help our fellow young women, so that in future they are better than ourselves. As women, let's move out of that comfort zone. We are too comfortable. Until next week, it's goodbye.